This Thrive Loud episode is brought to you by Hinge Consulting. Success on Amazon hinges on well-executed strategies. Contact Hinge Consulting to learn about total Amazon channel management and to see if your business has what it takes to grow over 300% over the next 12 months. That's Hinge Consulting at hingeconsulting.co.
Today on Thrive Loud.
This will be a lot of fun. Be yourself.
It's a lot of editing. You have a lot of editing to do.
We probably will need a lot of editing.
It's the 100,000-year-old man interview again.
Now I'm getting really excited. Okay, this is the part where I'm going to get loud.
Holy crap, here we go.
I like telling stories.
I learn best through experiences.
Everything I do is because of everything I did.
Talk about having maximum impact while having a ton of fun.
When you can net through that, what you do leave behind for your listener will have more impact.
Wow, bring it on.
It's time to take an inside look at those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. Today on Thrive Loud, we bring you entrepreneur, media industry expert, thought leader, one of the more client-focused, frank, and personal guys in business you will ever come across, CEO of Allscope, and overall great guy, Evan Greenberg.
Hey, Lou. Good. How are you?
It's good to have you, man.
Good.
This is kind of cool.
Very impressive opening.
Well, yes, because we're talking about you. It wouldn't be
my favorite subject.
I know, which is why this is going to be such a fun interview. For the Thrive Loud listeners, I've known Evan for quite some time. We won't date that, but let's just say that it's longer than the 5 minutes it took us to set up the microphone. Is that fair enough?
That's fair enough.
Okay, we go way back.
Yes.
The Thrive Loud listeners, Evan actually is a listener of the Thrive Loud community, so we're glad to have him on.
Absolutely.
So he's familiar with the format of this show, but he's never actually been a guest. So he will go through this, and here's what we're going to do. I want to hear a little bit about your journey, because that's what the listeners want to hear about.
Okay.
They don't want me to talk too much.
No, probably not.
You.
They've already heard you.
They've heard me a lot, and odds are they really just don't want me to talk.
Right.
So what we want to hear about is your journey in your career, how you've gotten to where you are today, and I will interject appropriately. Sound good?
Sure, absolutely. It's a long journey. I won't go back as far as the very beginning, but so I actually started on the media side, on the sales side of the business, in broadcast, and working for the ABC station group, radio and television group, in the traditional media, and then went to Katz Media, Katz Communications, radio and television, and spent my time on the sales side of the business, calling on all the agencies and media companies and clients representing radio and television stations around the country. Was VP of sales at that organization before I decided to take a leap of faith and jump over to the media side, agency side, to represent client interests. Okay. And because I sort of felt like big agencies were not really handling medium, mid-sized clients, mid-tier clients well, or in a high-touch way. And I felt there's a lot of value to have someone who could really represent their interests, spend time, quality time, provide high-quality services to do strategy, planning, buying of media, consulting, promotion, and all the other things. So I got into it. I grew up around the business a little bit. My dad was a media consultant, cool. So I refer to him as one of the original madmen, pipe smoking, scotch drinking.
That's how it is today, right?
Non-philandering, though. He was not a philanderer. He was not a philanderer, but I grew up around around that kind of environment. So I saw how the business was and what partnership was. And so I do remember those way days, and they certainly have changed drastically. Even so when I started the company, and while I know I sound very young, we've been doing this now I've been doing this on this side of the desk for almost 30 years. Obviously starting around traditional media, but quickly evolving to doing non-traditional, and then obviously digital and everything else.
Have you liked, in the media industry has changed. The business has now been around for you've been running Allscope?
30 years.
30 years. Okay. Which is impressive.
Almost 30 years.
That, by the way, very impressive.
You would never know that if you actually met me in person.
I wouldn't have even thought you were were 30 years old.
Exactly.
So, starting
I'm
in the
sitting in a high chair, actually.
There's some food in your bib, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Mwah.
Okay, so here's the real question. Over this 30 years, the media industry has changed tremendously. Obviously, technologies, but the client relationships obviously has been a key part of this. And I think that's something that you've always liked. Was that what really has been your favorite part of the business, is the relationship with your clients and helping them with their problems?
Yeah, I mean, the most rewarding part of the business, and one of the reasons that most of the people have joined my company over the years, I say pretty much everyone who works for me are refugees of all the big places, and for the most part, or of just other companies, is because we actually really like to do the work. That most of the people that I have been either administrated away from the business, the day-to-day business, they become administrative people and too senior, or they're siloed and they really don't have direct client contact. They don't get their hands in it. And for me personally and the management team here, it is about just helping clients solve problems. It is the personal side of it. It is truly becoming a partner and a business partner and doing our part in the sphere of influence we have to help them with solutions. So it is, without question, it's really the most important part of what I do. And the personal involvement is really, at the end of the day, it's why you work for a mid-sized company like ours and an independent that will speak truth and that will really, be a true, truthful partner.
I've spoken to many entrepreneurs and leaders who have led companies for a long period of time. And whenever I say to them, look back at what it first was, could you have ever envisioned that your business would be, first of all, still around here today, 30 years later, and I guess at the size that it's at? Give us a little perspective as to, you started out with just you and what it is.
Yeah, just started out, a couple of people, an office, a receptionist, and a phone, one client, and we grew that one client, then started to get other clients. We started the company non-traditionally, so we were working with promotion dollars, non-traditional dollars. Clients were looking for innovative thinking, but specific to media. So we grew the business in non-traditional way, which has given us a unique foundation. Where as a media company, we know more about non-media things and activation platforms from promotion and events. And we were doing sidewalk painting before people were doing sidewalk painting, and wrapping coffee cups and flying, blimps over stadiums before people were really doing it a lot. So we did a lot of non-traditional. We stayed on the edge of that. You can make those decisions when you're a small company and be very flexible and really sort of be a bit cutting edge and challenge convention because clients are looking for us to do that. So we built the business in a non-traditional way, and most of the people that have been with us for a long time. We have good longevity and people have experience. Even our younger people are really just, stupendous in terms of their experience, even from the places that they've come from to us.
Right. So I love this because I was looking at some of the messaging of your company, and I think this is great. Maybe you could help explain this to the Thrive Loud community. When people look up Allscope, they see listen, think, create, do. Walk us through that, because I think this is a great philosophy of how direct and frank your company is.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when we took a step back at what we do and how we do it, and then also just taking a look at the general environment, which is a very noisy environment. It's chaotic. It's exploded on every side. There, when they say there's a sea change, they usually refer to it in one part of the business. There's a sea change in every single sector of the business, no matter what side of the desk you sit on. The agency business has changed. The client side has changed. The marketplace, the media side has changed. Competitive environment has changed. So, there's so many disparate pieces that it's very hard to figure out how to weave those together to deliver effective communication across all the pieces. And what I found was most people talk about solutions, and they're very tactically focused, sort of and I feel it's tail wagging the dog. So for us, it's first listen, listen to the client's needs, stop talking about, everybody talks about themselves, or they talk about solutions, or they talk about, everyone wants to immediately jump into what the data says. And very often it's not about those things. It's about what are really the hurdles for the client. What are the pain points? What are the problems? What are they getting or not getting at any level? Spend a lot of time listening. I refer to it a lot as a story I heard in the past about walking in your moccasins, and sort of really, I want to, as an organization, we want to walk in the client's moccasins, walk in our partners' moccasins, understand from their perspective what keeps them up at night, spend a lot of time on the listen piece of it, which turns into a brief, and it turns into, sort of our ability to triage the opportunity. And then really quickly move into a lot of the thinking. And the thinking is both hard and soft. It's qualitative and quantitative. It's digging into data and analytics. We have a really strong strategic group that will look across all the pieces of analytics, first-party data to third-party data, call center volume, website activity, you name it, and then really trying to understand audiences and what's happening at the client level, and then start to map out and create solutions, whether it's content or creative, or whether it's channel, and then go from there, and then actually execute it and manage those pieces, observe, optimize, and be in an iterative process that we learn along the way, and then we reapply it either in flight or for the next campaign, or make recommendations on the next strategy.
I heard from people internally at your company, because we've got a chance to meet some of them here, that one of the things that your clients love about you specifically is that you are not afraid to tell the client exactly what's going on, that you don't hold back. Talk a little bit about your frankness now, and I know you personally, and I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. I don't speak my mind at all.
Right, exactly.
Yes, a good glass of good tequila always helps.
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, clients want, and anybody in business, I really believe they want you to speak the truth. They hire us, they have you along their side because they don't want you to just tell them to support what maybe exists, or to tell them what they want to hear necessarily. And I think that's our value. Otherwise, honestly, we're not the right partner to have if you don't want us to. At the end of the day, clients make decisions that they need to, whether it's for dollar reasons, political reasons, and at the end of the day, that's the decisions they make. But I believe that as advisor, we look at our business as an advisory business. We advocate for our clients because we know there's a lot going on in the marketplace that is against their best interests. So we see ourselves as advisor, gatekeeper, advocate, and we're all about being frank and truthful, transparent, and at the end of the day, just delivering the best advice that we can to help the clients advance their business. And I don't think there's any other way to do it. So it's the way I'm personally built, and I think the way that we're trying to train, we have trained really everybody in the organization to say, look, this is what we really believe. This is what we're seeing. This is what we advise and why. Get into a debate about it. I always refer to when we have first conversations with clients and they want to understand our approach and process. I say, it's like a dysfunctional Thanksgiving dinner. Everyone's, throwing food at each other, and there's disagreements, and they're yelling across the table, and we're debating, and and then at the end of the day, we all figure out how to enjoy a great meal together. But we got it all out, and we've all talked it out and talked it through, and we sort of, that's our approach. It's we all sit at the same table, and we're side by side with clients. We're not on the other side of the table.
I like it. Help the listeners get an understanding of where the media space is going, the business from where you guys are, because it's always changing, and this is the hardest
crazy
part. Yeah, insane crazy. Give us a little bit of foresight as to where you, because
is this a 2 hour? Is this a 2 hour podcast?
It's a real short one. I wanted you to give the short one version, but that's okay.
So the short version, what's happening in the media business,
specifically in the stuff that you're.
At the end of the day, it was really easy when I was first in the business, where you had 4 or 5 main channels, and you knew that if you ran some network television, or if you bought a ad in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, or or if you bought some big radio shows locally or nationally, that you reached big audiences. And ever since then, every year, it's gotten more and more cluttered, not only because television then had the explosion of cable, but which then started to chop up the television business, but then every one of those sectors, radio got streaming, and then it got the Pandora and Spotify. It got online streaming. The outdoor business, got digital displays and programmatic. The television business, as we all know, is what's happened there. And then the digital world is a digital world. What people don't realize very often is that 80% of every dollar spent in the digital world is spent with Google and Facebook, and then the rest of the world fights over the remaining 20%. And there's a lot of good reasons for that. And I think the business is very, very complicated because people hear a lot, and they're sold a lot of things, and there's a lack of transparency that there used to be. And I think people are starting to get at that now, but there's still a lot of black box. People talk about programmatic, analytics. They talk about attribution, media mix modeling. I mean, there's a lot of people that with data backgrounds and research backgrounds and analytics that are in the business. They're all trying to find panacea, and the truth is that there's a lot of the truth lies somewhere in between, and it really takes an educated eye to navigate this current environment. And that's really, at the end of the day, I sort of see what our mission is as a company, and my mission is for the company is to be that Sherpa, to be that for the climbing client, and to be advisor and advocate and help them sort of see through all the insanity. But there's a lot of opportunity. It's just not as easy as it used to be, where you could run a couple of spots in network TV and reach the world.
I have the image of you as a Sherpa or a caddy. I can't figure out which way I'm going with that.
Yeah, I'm probably more comfortable around a bag with 14 clubs in it
than not with being in there. So, Ev, as a leader and somebody that has got a lot going on with many clients and a lot of people in your company, people who thrive like you every now and then have an off day. I know that might sound shocking to you because you probably don't ever.
I can't think of it ever having an off day.
But on those days that you might not be 100%, who do you turn to get back on the thriving track?
Who do I turn to? I've got a lot of great people in the company, and where we really have a unique organization where we are very it is a close group. So I feel like I could talk to a lot of people here. I've got I've been in the business a long time. And so people that run everything from the big companies, to ad tech, to on the advertising side, publisher side, client side. I've got a lot of really good friends in all the parts of the business that we can talk through stuff, and that really give me good perspective.
I like it. Let alone you have a cute little dog and a puppy, which I know.
I talk to my dog all the time because she understands me.
Yeah, that's true. Because very few people do. So
few people could really figure me out. I'm an Aquarian after all.
I was never a big sign guy. So here's a great question. What are you looking forward to most with Allscope and with the business? Because you're constantly evolving, you're constantly moving forward. What specifically, any goals that you're looking for this year, 2018, that you're trying to get the company to, or for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we're trying to take the lead on is really being very, very focused. If we take a look at what the reason to be for an agency like ours is, I really believe it is in the space of consultancy, advocate, and advisor. And I think that starts with really sitting at the table and really trying to understand and spend a lot of time on the listen piece and really help clients figure out whether it's all or part of what they need to figure out, and whether it's their yearly goals, their 3-year goals, their quarterly goals, one brand's goal or the whole organization's, and help figure that out with them. And I think that is through some very sophisticated tools that we have on analytics that can read data across every touch point. And so I think for us, it's about being that consultant, about moving the company forward in a very consultative way, and then being agnostic to channel or solution. And so that allows us to be honest and give a voice with best recommendations and suggestions.
I like it. Give us all the places that we can find Allscope online, social media, and everything that you know of.
Allscope.com, at Allscope, Allscope Evan, Greenberg, whatever I am on my social handles. At Allscope Evan.
We'll put it on Twitter.
For Twitter, not that I tweet that much, but I do follow a lot of great people. We're here in Midtown Manhattan, and we also have an office in Chicago, and part of an international network. So we do work globally as well as just North America. And so you could find us here.
Evan Greenberg, your all-time favorite movie?
All-time favorite movie, I hate to, it's, and maybe it's just because I saw the marathon over the holidays, but of course Godfather. I mean, how could you not pick Godfather? So without question, Godfather. But I think I would also probably have to say, only because I think I just saw it for the 100th time, would be Devil Wears Prada.
Really?
And yeah, you wouldn't think that by looking at me. But I do like clothes, and I was in the publishing. I've been around the publishing business a lot, and so I could relate to the publishing business. But I do have 2 daughters that like to watch that movie at any given point. And outside of Law and Order, which is on television pretty much 24/7 on every channel, and I wish I was Dick Wolf and had Dick Wolf's money, that Devil Wears Prada is probably one of the most played movies on cable television as well.
That and My Cousin Vinny.
My Cousin Vinny's on a lot too. But so I would say the 2 very, very different kinds of movies, but ones I do enjoy are those 2.
So just a note on the Devil Wears Prada, I don't know if you know this, my sister's close friend, and she's coming on Thrive Loud, is Lauren Weisberger, who wrote the book, and obviously was in it. So that's a
there you go. Look at that.
Maybe and it's coming to Broadway.
7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Exactly. And that it's coming to Broadway, and Elton John is the one who's actually written the music for this. So pretty crazy.
This is why you're Lou Diamond.
This is the master connector.
Yeah, you're thriving loud.
Every minute.
Every minute.
Well done, Evan. Evan Greenberg, this was spectacular. See,
Thank
it wasn't
you.
too painful. You lived.
No, you know what? I thought we were going to sit on this couch and have a therapy session, and it sort of felt that way a little bit.
By the way, that's next, actually.
The therapy session.
Yeah, this is just the ramp up for that.
So anyway, I'm in the media therapy business, and so for clients that need communication therapy, I'm here.
There we go. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, Lou. It's awesome.
And to all the Thrive Loud listeners out there, keep thriving onward and upward, and remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Thrive Loud, or find us on the web at thrivepartners.net.
Very good. Okay, so be yourself.
Okay.
I'll do an intro. We'll go all the way through.
Do I have to be myself?
No, you actually have to be...
Can I be somebody successful that's worthy of interviewing?
Maybe you should be. I think you should just be Evan Greenberg.
I've listened to your other podcasts, and it's going to be a hard bar to...
I think you're going to pass that bar.
You think so?